Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is a late November day here in Southwest Florida. It's a little bit cool. It is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 19 degrees Celsius. So it's a little overcast, which is fine. For me, it's a lovely day. It's a little cool. It's funny. I'm out on my front lanai here, and I see people walking up and down the streets in the neighborhood, and I saw two people walking that had sweatshirts on because it's so cool to them. I think to me it doesn't feel that cool. It's just a nice day. I do have one of my warmer long sleeve shirts that I'm wearing, or short sleeve shirts that I'm wearing today. But it's still, it's fine. I got shorts on. It's a beautiful day. But it's funny here in Southwest Florida, when it gets just a little bit, it doesn't really get to freezing, or it occasionally does. But when it gets a little cool, the locals here, which I guess I'm a local now, but yeah, I don't know. They put on, when it gets a little cool, they put on, their heavy coats, down coats, they bring things. It's like, come on. It's a nice cool day, so I don't know if you can tell, I got the front door of my house open so we get some breeze to go through. The air conditioning on days like today doesn't come on, but it may. I don't know. Anyway, it is just a beautiful day. What I wanted to do today was it's relaxing for me, and what I want to do is just give you an overview of my orchids and my orchid growing space and things like that. And I wanted to share some orchids with you. I don't have too many new blooms today. These are some of the plants that are blooming. And what happens when my plants bloom, if they're easy to bring into an enclosed space, I don't actually bring them in the house, but I put them on my front lanai, I put them on my back lanai on the pool deck, and I bring them in so that I can enjoy them. Just from me sitting here, I'm not sure which of these I smell, but 3 of these orchids are really intensely fragrant. So in the front here, this is chocoberry fondue that is just beautifully fragrant. And it still smells. I did pollinate 2 of the flowers on this plant, so those flowers are starting to fade, so the flowers start to fold up a little bit. But the 2 that I didn't pollinate are still open and beautiful and fragrant. On the front in the middle here, I have a Cattleya walkeriana, and it's not the same bloom that I showed about 3 weeks ago. This is a second bloom that opened up, and it's a really nice bloom. So it has a nice purple lip on this flower, really nice, open and wide, and I really like this plant because it's so fragrant. The interesting thing is, what would I get if I crossed this walkeriana with the chocoberry fondue? And we'll find out in about probably 3.5 years, something like this. So I'm hoping for some very intense fragrance, but we'll see. Over here, this is cornerstone, and cornerstone, this plant has been blooming again for about 3 weeks, and I think it's going to keep on going. They're beautiful flowers, fragrant. This is a really old variety, a really old cross, and this is cornerstone compass. So the cultivar on this is compass, and this has been blooming for a while. But the other thing, and what's as exciting, is I can feel there are, I think, at least two other sheaths where I can feel blooms down in there. So this is probably, and they're at all different stages. So I've got these things that's probably going to be blooming over the next few months. as these flowers develop and open, and then these flowers develop and open. So I'm just really excited about this plant. The final one that I want to share with you that's on my front lanai is Maikai, and this is a real reliable bloomer. Same year, same time of the year, every year this thing blooms, and I think I've showed this to you previously, but I think it's in its peak bloom right now. So this thing is doing really well. I've got another Maikai that I'll show you that hasn't quite entered where it's got a lot of spikes, it's got a lot of bloom spikes on it, but it hasn't really, the flowers haven't opened yet. But it's all about this time of year that they'll bloom. So again, what I'm going to do in a little bit is get behind the camera and show you different places in my orchid growing space. The one thing that I wanted to point out to you is that my orchid growing space is really very small here at home. And I've seen other people's spaces, and I don't know how they keep track of their orchids because they have so many orchids crammed into such a small space. But I don't know if they do or not. I don't know how they do. I don't have that many orchids. I'll show them to you in a little bit. But I know them. So these are my babies. These are my family. I've shared that with you previously. And I look at them because I'm retired. I look at them once a day, sometimes once every other day at the least, but I look at them a lot, so I understand them, I know them, and I tell when they're going to bloom. It is rare for me to go through my orchids and find a new bloom that I didn't know was coming. So I really think that the best way to develop as an orchid grower is to have a reasonable number of plants where you can understand them and get to know how to grow them. Now, maybe if I would have started early in my life, I would have more because I'd understand more, but I'm still getting to know all of my plants, and I've got so many new plants coming that I'm getting to know them as well. Again, what I want to do is soon get behind the camera and show you some of the orchids in my orchid growing space and give you a little bit of a description of what that space is all about. Okay, so let me get behind the camera and let's go. Okay, and we're back. So I wanted to start off with this plant. And I should mention to you that I am in the front yard, and there's not a whole lot of orchids here and not a whole lot of growing space. And what we're looking at are orchids that are either in or mounted on my date palm. And so this date palm is the only date palm left. The other one was taken out for this road improvement project, and we're almost done with the road improvement project. So here's part of my front yard, and that's how far they came up. So pretty far, and we're supposed to get turf soon, but no mention. There was another date palm right there, and I'm actually getting I've got a replacement date palm that's ready to go. Another male, and this one's a male right here. So anyway, back to my orchid. So this is Jamaica Red, and it is moving in the wind. The wind picked up, so it's a little cool, not bad, but we're starting to get some sun. Anyway, so this is Jamaica Red, and I counted, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it because the bloom spikes are so small right now, but I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bloom spikes. And these are small flowers, but because there's so many of them on this plant, and this is just, there's no potting media here. This is just a plant that is thrown into this box and is hanging in my tree. I fertilize it, as I do most of my orchids, once a week, and it seems to be doing really well. It blooms when it puts out a new pseudobulb. You get the new bloom that comes out of it. This time of year, for some reason, with the cool weather, I'm seeing a lot of bloom spikes come out on this and other of my plants. So let's take a look at some of the other ones here. And there's a fowl, and I also should mention here that this Phalaenopsis was shaded by the other date palm that's no longer there. So it looks okay. The leaves are a little light yellow, but it's light green, but it's okay, and I think it's doing right. And you see it's got the nice new root growing out right there, I think. So it's doing okay. Moving on to take a look at this dendrobium right here. And this is part of the same plant, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but on the top left, it's hard to get focused because I think it's focusing on the dirt behind it, but at the top left of your screen, there is a new pseudobulb growing out of it. I do also want to show you this right here, and again, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this is a barely alive, but it's been barely alive for a while. This is Gulf Green, and it's got a new pseudobulb coming out. It puts out new pseudobulbs occasionally, and a lot of roots, and it does okay, but it hasn't really flourished as I would like. I've got a Vanda right here. There's another den right here further up in the tree, but let's go around. Oh, and I do want to mention, I want to show you this. This is a new a new addition to the tree. So this is Miltassia Dark Star Darth Vader, and you can see, maybe, hopefully you can see right there in the middle of the screen is a new growth coming out of the base of this thing. This plant, when I repotted it, just fell apart. So I've got I think 4 or 5 other plants of this, and I just shoved this one bulb down in in my date palm that had a new growth, just a little tiny thing coming out of it. So it looks like it's growing and it's doing okay. All right, right next to it, if you take a look, is a Cattleya that hasn't really done that well, but it's got this new pseudobulb that doesn't look great, that's growing out of it right there, but then the roots coming out and attaching to the tree. So hopefully this will do okay also. And as we move up, there's a den right here that's got, again, a bloom spike coming out of it right there, and then there's another one. Okay, so the bloom spike is on the top left. It may not be in focus, but then there's another one right in the middle of the screen right there, another bloom spike that on this plant here. So I think that's, oh, let me show you as I move up. Sorry, I don't want to move up too quickly, but there is a yeah, I'm not sure how well. I got plants in the way. All right, so this is an Encyclia tampensis that I put up here probably about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and it's doing okay, but not great. The final thing as we go through here, again, part of the same den. There's a Maikai back in there, but this is a plant a seedling that wasn't doing real well, so I shoved it down in the date palm right here. And again, it may get, this is the base of the date palm, so it may get a little bit too much light to do well there, but we'll see. Oop, there it is right there. Okay, so that's all I have for the front of the house here, because all I have is my one date palm left that is in that's in the yard, that's got a lot on it. I'm gonna have, as this thing grows, I'm gonna have a lot more space, and then I'm gonna put my second date palm right there. So I will double my orchid growing space in my front yard. All right, so let's take a look at the backyard and the orchid pergola and all the orchids on my fence, and that's where I have most of the orchids in my collection. Okay, and we are back. So not an orchid. Well, yes it is. So this is a Phalen. Actually, in the center of the screen is a monarch larva in a J position. So tomorrow this guy is probably going to be a chrysalis. And if you've been watching my channel, you know I really like monarchs. They're flying around in my yard. We may see some today. We'll have to see how it goes. But they fly around a lot, and what happened? And they're here because they do like the orchids. but they also like the milkweed, which is right here. So we can take a look, and if I can find them. Oh, there he is. All right. So there's one right there, and they just like being on the milkweed. There's another one on the bottom of this flower right here. You can see its feet kind of wrapped around there. But I like them. I like the butterflies. I like the caterpillars, and they seem to like to make their chrysalises on the bottom of some of the really most of the orchids that I have. So this, I have to show you this because this is a piece of driftwood that was made into an orchid hanger or ornament thing. And my wife really, we went to a house, a colleague of mine, an orchid grower, and my wife for some reason really liked this, and I didn't realize when you look at the base of this thing, it looks like it's just a small cement piece, but that cement piece goes down in the ground a lot, and it weighs a lot. So I had to dig this up. We use a two-wheel dolly to get it to my vehicle, and then get it here and drop it in the ground. And I actually had to put some new cement on the top because it was a little wobbly. So anyway, we've got the phals, and this is a pretty relatively new addition. Both the phals and the and this tree and the orchids associated with it. So we'll see how they do. They may be getting a little bit too much sun, but I think they're okay. But we'll see. All right, so let's get into some of the other orchids I have, and this is my nursery space right here. I do have some of my large dendrobiums are up here. I do want to show you over here, if we can see it. You're not going to be able to see it that well. There, maybe you can right there. So this is a capsule on Wulang. It's just a self. This is a plant, an orchid that I really like, a dendrobium. It's not flowering now, but it does have, I think it had some blooms coming out on it somewhere. It's just a huge plant. Over here I've got some of the dendrobiums that I grew from seed. There's really a combination of things. These are all my seedlings, or some of my seedlings, right here, and I keep some of the good ones here before I transplant them and bring them out. More of them here, a real variety of different types. So let me see if we can focus in on it's getting bright, so it's kind of hard to see because I have sun on my viewfinder. It's kind of hard for me to see where I am. But I think in the middle of the screen there is a certipodium. I've got some, just a variety of different things. Let me go up. I do also want to show this to you. So there is what looks like something tall growing out of where my seedlings are, and that's a vanilla. That's vanilla planifolia that's actually growing out of a pot that is on the bottom shelf. So there's some vanilla in those two pots right there, and I think one of those, it grew up up my orchid stand. And then it keeps on growing out of that little pot, right? I think it's that one right there. But these things are just really easy to propagate and grow. If you're interested, I can do a really easy, quick video on that. I've got one vanilla that I'm propagating right there. That is essentially, it got too tall and the top of this cracked off, and so I just shoved it in this potting medium to try to grow it. All right, so again, some of the other plants that I have, dogs reacquainting themselves from all over the place. Okay, so these are just some of the orchids that I have in my growing space. Here's clear stars right here, and I do want to show you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a seed capsule right there, and I'm excited about that seed capsule. I do have a cross that I've made from this plant already, and those seedlings are in the laboratory doing really well. Right here, I don't want to stop at every orchid that I have, but I'll highlight some of them. So this is Chiolin, and this is an orchid that I didn't know what it was, and I brought it in and had a colleague identify for you. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because in that sheath right there, there's flowers that are really ready to come out. And also, if I can show you, this is one of my, I'm excited about this. This is a new, right there in the center of the screen are some flowers that are coming out on a relatively new orchid. So I'm excited to have those come out. This is Encyclia cordigera or cordigera. I do also want to show you, I have a couple of myrmecophillas that are getting, I think, so one right there in the box and the one right next to it that's pretty large. I think they're getting pretty big. These have not bloomed. I don't know if I'm not giving them enough light or what's going on with them, but you know, they're doing well, and we'll see. Okay, so I do want to move on and show you some of the vandas that I have in the trees. So this is a Rhynchostylus right here. This bloomed for me last year, and look at the thing that I want to point out is the root system on this plant. There's two plants mounted on this tree, and so it goes all the way to the ground, and that's from a neighboring plant. But then you follow it up the tree. There's one plant, and then there's another plant, and you keep on going, and the roots just keep on going up and up and up and up. And this thing, the roots, if roots are an indication of plant health and vigor, this guy likes it. And I'm excited because in the center of the field right there, you can see I got a bloom spike coming out, and this is my first bloom that I've nurtured along on this vanda, and the name of it that you can see is right there. My largest vanda is on this tree right here, and the root system on this is just incredible. You know, down the tree, and as we go, you know, up the tree to there, you know, just really nice root system, and a pretty large, for me, vanda, but it hasn't bloomed yet. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you informed. Some more vandas, don't really want to talk about this. Some more of my seedlings right here, and I can focus in on a little bit. My seedlings, you can tell this flat is not packed. And what I have is a ton of seedlings in the lab that I am going to bring home. So yay, I'm going to fill up this space pretty quickly. I do want to show you also right here this orchid, and I can't recall the name because it's we can't take a look. It's really at a bad angle. But that sheath right there has a bloom in it, and this is a relatively new acquisition. And then the sheath right behind it has a bloom spike in there too. So I'm going to be getting my first blooms off of this plant pretty soon. As we move through here, I do have, and this is just one of my, I got a lot of encyclias because I grow a lot of them from seed. I don't think we have any blooms over here as we move along, but I do want to show you. You know, they're looking pretty good. These are some seedlings that I think I showed. I had a video on transplanting these seedlings, and they're doing pretty well. As we move back, and I might have to stick my hand in here so you can see this, but as we move back here, I want you to see this, and this is Encyclia tampensis, that's from the plant that's right below it right there. And these are blooms. It's not the normal blooming time for this plant, but these are blooms that are coming out. So I'm going to try to do some things with this plant. I do want to show you, I'm going to have to go around my palm trees, but before I go around them, there's another, and I might have to put my hand here too. So this is Wu Lang. It got sunny and it's warming up. So this is Wu Lang right here that is in full sun, and that's blooming. Oh, I do have to come back here and show you this. So there's, at the base of this tree, there's some pseudopodiums, and again, I grew these from seed. They seem to be doing pretty well. As you go up from it a little bit, okay, right here, this is a dendrobium also that I grew from seed that we're growing on burlap, and you can see the roots maybe coming out of the burlap and attaching to the tree, and it's the same den as right here, the same cross is right here. And I don't have a whole lot of these, but they tend to be doing pretty well. There's a Mimi Palmer right there that, again, didn't do well until I shoved it on the tree. Okay, let's move around to the other side of the tree. And I want to show you some more orchids, and I want to show you one that I'm really excited about, and that's right here. And I'm sorry about the harsh shadows, but this is loaded. This orchid is just loaded. And this is, I got to look up the name, I'm just forgetting it. This is Young Kong. And this has, what you can see is this bloom right here. You can see maybe, oh man, there should be a bloom, some blooms. I think I see 3 blooms in there. But the other thing is that there are blooms. This sheath is packed. Then the sheath next to it, right there in the center of the screen, is packed, and then the one behind it is packed. So this is going to have a lot of flowers on it. One thing I can show you, if you're looking at it and say, what the heck is on the leaves? If you take a look at these leaves, all this pitting, we're underneath a palm tree, and I think the seeds, when they fall out of the palm tree and hit the leaves of the plant, I think they cause some damage. All right, so anyway, so I just got some more orchids here. Nothing really that's noteworthy. And then we got to keep on going just so you can see everything. Before we step back there, this is an orchid. This is a Vanda seedling that I got from RF that has really tripled in size since I got it from them about a year ago. But right here in full sun, we'll see how they do. But these are burlap phals, and it's doing okay. The roots are growing, but they're a little lighter in color because they're in full sun. But, nice root system on them. Oh, man, dogs all over the place. All right, you think once is enough. Hello, good to see you. But they just keep on going. I guess there's a lot to talk about in the neighborhood. All right, so moving along here, again, more pseudo-podiums. And I have more... you can't tell, I'm maneuvering to get back in here. So there is more burlap phals right here from the same cross. These are more shaded, so these are doing pretty well. But look at these. These look pretty good, and the root system, as you can tell, I think the root system is pretty extensive. It goes down the tree, there. So these phals are doing okay. And then if you saw the tag on this, there's a Rhynchostylus, again, a seedling from RF Orchid that seems to be doing pretty well. One other thing before we shift around to a different location is that this is my other Maikai, and you can see blooms coming out that haven't quite opened. So there seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can tell, but there may be more that are buried in the plant a little deeper. Okay, other orchids right here are doing pretty well, but nothing that we need to look at. I do want to go over to this other Vanda right here, and this one is again doing pretty well. So this is Vanda Selena, and again, when you follow the roots down, there's another orchid, another Vanda below this on the tree, but most of the roots that you can see on this tree are from Vanda Selena. So it's doing well, and you may or may not be able to tell as we follow this to the right side of the tree, past the leaves and up, probably right until there. That's where the roots go. And then again over on this side of the tree, again, those roots are from, as we follow it down, they're from this Vanda right here. Now this thing bloomed for me a little while ago, and it's putting out another bloom spike right here. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a bloom spike that's coming out of this Vanda as well. So I'm pretty excited about this. My phals aren't blooming because many of these are small. I do have some phals behind the shed that is right over there that are putting out their bloom spikes. Okay, so let's move over here. And I guess I should show you, just to give you an overview of my orchid pergola. This is really one of my main orchid growing spaces. So this, and it's shaded, it's got the aluminette on the top, and I really like using, this is the aluminette shade cloth. I really like using this over the black shade cloth because of the metallic finish on it. It's more reflective, so it doesn't heat up. The black shade cloth, it does block the light, but it heats up, and I don't like that. I like the look of this, and I like the performance of this aluminette shade cloth material. So this is really what I like to use over my orchids. So my orchid pergola, I should also mention that this is hooked up to my irrigation system. I have an irrigation line that goes up one leg of the pergola through the middle, and this gets irrigated this is just well water, which is fine in this area. It gets irrigated 3 times a week during the dry season and twice a week in the wet season if needed. If it's raining when the irrigation comes on, there's a rain sensor on it and it won't come on. So you don't want to overwater these things either. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the orchids, and there's only some that are noteworthy. So I have Mayaka stars right here, and this is one of the final blooms, and to the left of it, I don't know whether you can see, is a seed capsule from a cross that I made. So I'm excited about this, but it's a small seed capsule, so we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of it. There's more Encyclia tampensis mounted on the inside of this piece of bamboo. Just some other, let's see, what do we want to see? We want to see, I got to come around here, and there's a bloom spike on this catasetum right here. And this is catasetum gramwood, and this thing, there's an old bloom spike right there. This thing, I think it's the 3rd bloom spike that I've had on this plant. This time of the year, these guys are supposed to go dormant, and they can bloom when they're dormant, but this guy just keeps on going, and there's a little bit of yellowing in the leaves of this, but not too much. So we're going to let it go. And even with this catasetum right here, there's a little bit of yellowing of the leaves, but it's still an active growth. There's still new growth coming out of the tip of this thing, so we'll just see how it goes. As I'm over here, I do want to show you, and I don't know, boy, it is bright out here, getting bright. I do want to show you the new roots that are coming out of this cattleya, because it's for me, this is nice to see. And it's pretty striking that I have that the roots look so nice, and this is a good sign for this cattleya, but for all these plants. All right, and then we have over here, this is yet another seed capsule on this plant. I'm not sure how many. Oh, I got to show you this again if I can see. Oh, I don't think we're going to be able to see much on this, but there is, if I can see, and if you can see, there are some blooms right there in the center of the screen that'll hopefully come out soon. And this is going to be my first bloom on that plant. But a lot of these are the 4-inch pots, the seedlings that I have that are up here at the top. I do also want to show you, it is so bright, I can't see. I do want to show you, I think you can see it right there. So in the center of the screen, there's a bloom right there, and then right below it is another bloom, and this is called Tainan Gold. And there's another, I can't see around the other side, it's just so hard to get to. There's some more blooms coming out on this plant. I'm really excited about this because I've used this in my crosses, and I do need to collect new Pollinia, and I do need to make some additional crosses. One other thing, again here, oh, it's going to be so hard to see this, but let's try. No, I guess we can. So this is another seed capsule of Encyclia tampensis. And I'm hopeful, most of my capsules didn't yield any viable seed, but this has gone months longer than the earlier seed capsules that split, so I'm hopeful that I'll get something out of that. Okay, moving along, if we go through here, we have more. This right here is, hard to see. You can't tell. I'm staring into the sun when I'm trying to find these things, but this is Star Ruby Xanadu that's flowering. This is the last flower. I don't think I'm going to have any more on this. When you go over here, you see the tag blowing in the wind, and this is River Kwai Pink. And there's you can see the dead, flower right there, but then right next to it, I think if you can see it in the right place, it's a good cross right there. So the base of that flower is green, and it's looking pretty good. I do want to show you as we move up here, and I just saw this recently. You go up into this pot right here, I think is somewhere in this area, is a new bloom of Amazing Thailand, and I'm really excited. I love that flower, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm just really hopeful that I'm gonna be able to get something out of that. I do say, while I'm down here, my arms are getting tired of holding the camera up. I do have, when you look at it, I've got a lot of encyclias, and these are Encyclia tampensis. So there's one here, there's another one on the back of that board. There's more. Each of these boards has an Encyclia tampensis on it. Again, not the right angle, but that's Encyclia. But I've got a lot of these, anywhere from the larger plants here that have bloomed to, if I sneak back here, there's a seedling right there. It's a much smaller plant. And I grow these to put in the park, but it's been difficult to gain access to the park because they're still recovering from hurricanes. So another one right there. So I've got a lot of Encyclia tampensis that are ready to go. I've got one even in the coconut husk right there. So lots of things going on, lots of plants. I did want to give you, like I said, an overview of what's going on. Oh, and the noise that you're hearing probably in the background is from some really nice chimes that are right there. But I did want to give you a little bit of an overview of what's going on in my orchid growing space, and just kind of a relaxing look-see at everything that I have. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you've got some suggestions on what you want to see or what you want to hear about, please list those in the comments, and I'd be happy to take a look and make video for you. All right, that's all I have. Again, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you enjoyed it and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you could click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's it for today. Happy propagating.